Okay, yes. Hey, everyone. My name is Janet FCG from Wimbledon, Southwest London. I'm not going to tell you what I do. I've worked in the public and private sector. I talk about psychology, bereavement, so many different things. I talk about hair and beauty, my natural hair day, and so on. I've already said that I'm not going to talk about my skin secret, which is that cost me nothing until I don't know until I've reached to that stage, maybe up to a year, a couple of months, whereby I feel what have worked for me and also what have worked for me in weight loss. I'm not gonna talk about those until a couple of months because I like to see, how that works out for me and so on. Okay, now I've just finished talking about the Jubilee holidays, and my father really used to love the trooping of the color. So today, and God rest his spirit, he's passed, and so today I'm going to talk about bereavement and Mother and Father's Day. Now we had Mother's Day in March. Uh, the Americans just had Mother's Day in May, and we're gonna have Father's Day in June, and we're already in June now, and Father's Day is coming very quickly. And I've I've been pushed to do this topic for a very long time, whereby a lot of people have been struggling with Mother and Father's Day, even if they have their own kids. I don't have children myself, but I've got a wonderful niece and nephew, and even people who get presents from their kids and not every. I remember Martin Lewis talking about it, that he has to go somewhere else, and even though the children are doing Mother's Day, but since his mother died, it's just so difficult for him and so on. So today we are going to talk about dealing with Mother and Father's Day during bereavement. Just, I don't know. First of all, if you're trying to deal with things, remove yourself from people who are constantly asking you, "Did you get your mother anything?" It's none of their business. Um, and another thing is, if you have family, that's different. Your children will be giving you stuff for Mother's Day, and you will decide how you want to spend your Mother's Day. There are some women who say, "Just leave me alone. Don't do anything for me. I just want peace and quiet in my house." Maybe they're overwhelmed and they're very busy. You know, I personally, if I was a mother, I don't like to have breakfast in bed. I would like to wake up, do my exercise, and leave everything in the dining room, and I would like to have a late breakfast. All this. I don't really take early breakfast anyway. I used to do that, but the new lifestyle today is that we're not meant to even have breakfast if it's too early. We should have your breakfast and your lunch together for brunch at some point, even if it's in the evening or something like that. I'll talk about it another time. Do flexible hours in the office, go in early, leave early. Do your exercise, drink water. When you come back, start eating your meal. I don't know. I'm not going to talk about that anyway. Now, for most of you who know, my mother died in 2015. My father died in 2016. They went in an accident or anything. It was just, I don't know, natural illness in hospital. And it was before COVID. So at least we were able to be surrounded by, they were able to be surrounded by family. And my parents were late parents, So the most important thing is, even though we were not in the huge houses that they had when they were, um, my parents already had two properties in London, which is very difficult to get now. Only one family member have got a huge house because she's got more kids than, well, she doesn't have that much kids, so she has two. But the thing is, that's not the point. She's worked hard, and that's wonderful. We're always happy for her. The rest of us, we just have smaller houses, and I'm happy. I think it's better to be happy in your smaller house than move into, oh, and this house was actually her house anyway. Then move into a bunch of people's five-bedroom place, and you have a bunch of in-laws making your life difficult. No, I believe to have your own. That's more important. So I'm not in the kind of house that my parents lived in, and they also had property abroad because my grandparents originally are West African, although my parents were British. They were students and they were British in this country. They met each other in the United Kingdom. They didn't just come together or something like that. No, they were British citizens. They were British students. They got their British citizens when they were students or whatever. I don't know. So basically we were all born British, but we spent time abroad. So basically, my father had two, three, four huge properties abroad, but he has other extended relatives and other people, and they live in the properties, and that's fine. I mean, I don't really like to, I don't really go to that part of the world all the time. And when I go, I don't. I can go to a hotel. I can go to someone else's house. I don't need to. You know, I don't fight over property of a country that I don't even live in. It's just ridiculous. Let the other people have it. Anyway, so that's, so my parents are British. They died basically before the pandemic. So we were very lucky that at least we were able to see them and bury them and all that and so on. They died within a year of each other. And so by the time the pandemic came and people couldn't go to funerals and people started dying, it did bring back really awful memories, but not too awful. I felt sorry for them. I really had empathy, but it brought memories of bereavement for me. And my counseling has only been online, you know. So I'm gonna tell you how to deal with Mother and Father's Day. Basically, after you've lost your parents, everybody's situation is different. What I'm trying to say right now is that don't rush into getting therapy. Therapy is good, I know. I didn't get mine immediately. I was trying to keep my house and sort out my house and sort out my new job. And I was also moving home before they died, and my home wasn't ready until not day after my mother died anyway. So we had to get stuff from my mother's house and sort that out, funeral and so on. And I also had to get stuff to get ready to move into my own new place. I It's still in the same local government, it's still in the same borough, so I wasn't really moving to Tibet or something like that. But it was a very stressful time. It was a very stressful time. So, but you know what? I had to keep my home because my contract had also just finished. So my priority was keeping my home, and it's a good thing I did because my sister was with me recently for over 6 months with my nephew, and she just moved into her own place. Hence, I'm back to my usual background. My other videos have been in my bedroom in the past, because she was using my living room for a bedroom, working from home, and so on. But she's moved to her own place. So it's a good thing I strove hard to keep this space, because I know that there will always be a place here for her, and should she need it. I don't know what to do. I don't know. I'm gonna talk to you about bereavement. You gotta be calm. You gotta. When I went to get the death certificate and so on, my priority was thinking about my personal situation. I knew that I didn't want to live with anybody, and I wasn't gonna live with anybody. I wasn't gonna do that. So basically, what I did do was I just decided that, you know what, if I'm going to live with some, I don't want to do that. I'm going to continue with where I was going to move to, because I'd already found a place before my mother died. But, I had to like wait for my home to be ready and also move things from her own home. And I was stuck in my old place, which was, my mother said, was like not good, so good memory. I was glad when I came in here. Then I had to do some work on the place as well, and things like that. So I had to get that. It was when I was settled, then I went and found another contract. Now, maybe it was too early for me to get back to work and so on, but I was just doing the usual thing that I would do. After I did a couple of jobs and the contracts were just too short term, and I just felt I just took an indirect career break whereby I got some government allowance and left my other job. But the most important thing was I did a system where I was able to pay my rent and bills, whereby I got good financial advice and I only paid priority bills, and my rent is very very, because this is owned by a housing association, so it's not very expensive, you know, to live in this house. I just made sure that was it before I rushed into another permanent job. So I took time away and just started doing online videos, and then we had COVID anyway, so majority of the things I did was just online videos and talking about stuff and so on. And eventually they did say there was a nice place I could come in and talk to someone. Oh, I don't know. I decided to do an online therapy on an app. I wasn't ready to come in to talk to somebody, and I could have really done that on the phone and so on. But I don't know, maybe because I had other things in my life. I had the cinema, I had my exercise, I had the park, I had wonderful things, and I just thought I'll stick to the app, and I will do a well-being therapy in my own time. Now, if you cannot wait, the best thing to do is to go for therapy and make sure that your life is in order, whether your job, your home, nobody's causing you stress and all that. Usually, when parents die, no matter how old you are, this is where you get divisions and so on. So you need to make sure that you're able to do your own thing. It's really very important that you are able to do your own thing. Just do your own thing that makes you happy, but make sure that your home situation is fine. I didn't have time to grieve. I had to deal with my home situation, sorting out my bills, making sure that I keep my home. So I keep myself to myself. It wasn't always that easy. I didn't always look like this. Sometimes, I wouldn't put even any makeup and all that, but gradually I just started getting myself back to the way I wanted to get myself back to. It's not easy when you have a bereavement, especially when you've had these people in your life and you think your parents are going to be there for a very long time. It's not easy. So once it comes to this stuff, for the first couple of years, Facebook will show me a reminder, and I just did, oh, good memories, rest in peace. You can remember your parents without breaking down, and just think about the good memories that you have. If you're going to break down, then stay away from people who go on about Mother's and Father's Day. Just stay away from people who do that. My family, we have one or two people that are mothers. We just tell them on the WhatsApp, Happy Mother's Day. Sometimes I'll send all this digital card that would have their photo and all that. But to tell you the truth, I don't use most of this digital company because sometimes they never send the card on time. So I'll do something on WhatsApp and send a photo, and that's that. Okay? But I don't send them the memory of my parents. The thing is that the way you remember your parents, your siblings may not be ready to talk about it, so I don't do that. Um, when Mother's Day come and your mother's birthday, now I'm gonna deal with my mother's birthday first. Sorry, I'm gonna deal with Mother's Day first. When Mother's Day come in the United States, in the United Kingdom, sorry, that's March. Is everywhere. It's in the grocery store. It's everywhere and so on. Luckily, it's not compulsory to watch TV now because everything we now have. We now have our iPads, and we now have what you call we have streaming services now, so you don't have to watch things live. You don't have to do that. And when I see a commercial on that, even on my phone, mm, just put it like it's another thing. Okay, just move to the next thing, and that's that. Don't take it, no, don't take it personally. Don't take it say. Even Touch Note, my digital whatever said if you wanted to opt out, but I just couldn't be bothered. I'm not gonna opt out from that. You're always gonna hear about Valentine's Day, Mother's Day. As falls on a weekend, have a proper weekend routine. Do your exercise, go to the park, go to the gym, go to the cinema, and just have a no. Before you know it, that day has gone. Recently, on the 28th of May, was my mother's birthday, and I knew it was her birthday and it was coming. And when it came, it went quickly, and that was it. I don't dwell on it, I don't think about it. Okay, Facebook usually sends me a reminder, then I will share it and I just say, oh, rest in peace, good memories. I don't take it personally, and that's that. You can survive and just do your shopping as you want to do your shopping, and ignore those cards in the grocery store, or do your shopping online. I still go into the grocery store. Yes, I do some shopping online, but I do like to go and feel for certain foods, and just for the sake of it, sometimes there's no need going into it. But don't, I don't know how to say it, especially if you're an adult. Don't mix with people who are saying, did you get anything for your mother? People shouldn't be. You say, excuse me, can you stop asking me questions like that? I'm not a child and I don't need to know about getting things for my mother. Move away from people like that. It's really strange because since the whole debacle of bereavement started, um, nobody has ever said that to me. So this is what I'm saying. If you're in this situation, remove yourself from stressful situations and remove yourself from people who are constant, unless they have good intentions and so on. We may have a little chat about them from time to time. I may talk to my siblings, especially my twin, but I don't get all emotional on their birthday or something like that. That doesn't make me get emotional. Or who gets emotional not once in a while when you look at their photos and you look at certain memories and you dream about it. And if that bothers you, when it gets to their birthday, Mother's Day, Father's Day, and so on. Father's Day, people don't even take Father's Day seriously, but people do have cards that have cars and things like that. They fall on a weekend. Do your weekend stuff. Wake up, do your exercise, go to the cinema, go to the park, and just chill and enjoy yourself. And in your heart, just think about the good memories. Think about them, that they're still around, that you still have your good memories about that. If it's bothering you too much, then go back to counseling. Do this online counseling. At least there's a lot of online counseling you can get, or you can Google free counseling and so on. And another thing is, don't do this group counseling unless you're ready. Okay? Unless you do this counseling that it looks like text messages whereby they're typing whatever to you and not the video one, because I've been told that some of these group counseling are not really that great, because you have other people on the video and they're you're assimilating their hardship. Now I can take that, but you may not be able to take it. So why don't it just be, even if you don't want to talk to the person on the phone, you can do some sort of online whereby they can send you information and answers on what to do, and you can type back your response. So do something that is online, but it's something that you type to and fro, because you're not ready for face to face, and video to me is similar to face to face. So you don't have to do a Zoom call with all of them. Just take a deep breath and look at what suits you best. In my case, I do the normal things I normally do. My exercise, go to the park, I go to the cinemas because I love the movies a lot. And that helps me. It's not perfect, but that helps me. And I involve myself in nice things. Go for a picnic or a barbecue with your family. If your family have been strained with you for a very, very long time, cut them off until they're able to you know suit your needs. You need to concentrate on your emotional and your mental health and so on. This is one of the reasons why I went back online when people started dying during the pandemic. If it reminds you of that, then you can go back to counseling. Yes, there's a long waiting list if you're on the NHS, but there are some online ones you can get to, and just Google them and you'll be surprised the kind of help that you will get. And this is to your success. Just do what makes you feel happy, whether it's the tennis, the cinema, the movies, going to the theaters, which is what you Americans will call Broadway, just going to the park. I found that the park to be very refreshing. Go for a walk, make sure you have, travel to another region, go on a train ride to another region, and so on, and just keep your mind off things. Okay. Now I have actually been in a situation where my Mother's Days and Father's Days have passed, and it doesn't. I take it as an ordinary weekend, and I do my weekend stuff, and I enjoy myself. You don't need to sit at home feeling miserable and so on. And make sure you work hard to get enough to eat, whether you're fasting or you're not fasting. You're enjoying your food. You can go to the movies as well. Do your exercise, go to the park, meet friends, and people who are not gonna constantly remind you of that. And this is to your health and to your success. So come on, let's all put something in the comments and tell us how you feel, and we can talk to each other. And I'm not saying that you should forget, but I just think that you need to learn to um, manage your pain in these situations. I'm not gonna be callous to say move on. It doesn't work that way. You are not never gonna forget your parents. That's not gonna help. Okay, so don't. You can just learn to manage your pain and remember them in a positive light, and think about the memories. Whether good or bad. And if it's too much, if COVID has, because COVID made me think about the loss that I'd experienced. I didn't lose anybody to COVID, but because I'd lost my parents before COVID, it did make me think about it. And I was also lucky because I was already moving home to another place. So I had a new beginning, a place that my mother had never visited it, but it was still in the same borough. and so on. So I started afresh, and so when I just did it, think it is as a time to have your own life, make your own decisions, and if you're an adult, try your best to move into your own home. I don't care if it's a tiny one bedroom. Try it because you need your own inner space, you need your own space, and so on. Living with other people just causes more stress. Now, if we got to the pandemic and it gives you memories, and as we know, COVID is still around, even though the lockdown is over, and you get to Father or Mother's Day, or you get to your father or your mother's birthday, if you're struggling, like I said, get some counseling, get some some online free counseling. Just Google it. At least there'll be people to talk to you. So take care to your health and to your success.